Okay, guys, as promised, I said I would do some shout outs for you guys if you made a comment on my video that I posted last week. So here it is, and it looks like we got quite a collection here. You know, I'm not no big YouTuber or nothing like that, but I'm happy of what I've got. So let's start it out. Let's Before we get started, though, I want to let you know that there's at the end of when I talk about my response to some of these comments, or I'm going to respond to all of them, of course. Uh, I've got at the end where I talk a little bit about some of the stuff that I missed on the video, and it's kind of important to me that you watch that and give you an idea on some of the stuff that these uh, these cars, how they work and how much fuel they go through and how expensive it is to operate. So I go into that detail, and then I show you some of my diecast cars and some of the novelty stuff that I bought when I was at the races. So stay tuned to that after we get done with these shout outs. So, okay, the first shout out we're going to do is I believe it's either Ian or Lan Y. Gath. He says, "Great story, James. Thanks for sharing. God bless and keep you, I would say, holy," which means, Christian like. And I am a Christian, and he knows it. And a lot of times he sends me a lot of great comments. And sometimes he even sends me little scripture pieces from the Bible, and I really appreciate that. So he's a great guy. So check him out. He's got some really nice videos. Uh, he could use your support and love. Okay, next one is Wisconsin Greg. He's a neighbor of mine. He's not too far down the road. Him and I watch each other's videos, and he's into right now where he's in a better predicament than I am. He's got a farm, and he can go in the woods and do some camping experiences. When the weather gets better, he doesn't have to worry about distancing himself from anybody. He's out there on the farm by himself, and he's got crops to put in, so he's got a lot of time that he can, do some great videos. And everybody likes farming, so you should do real well with that. So, anyways, he says, "I went to Great Lakes Dragway many times in the late 70s and early 80s. I probably have hundreds of pictures from there. I even have a picture of Broadway Metzler on the Dragway, or on the Dragon, not Dragway. It's Dragon that Bob made." He said, "I went to Byron once." He said, "It was cool to see the nuclear power plant at the end of the track in Byron. Take care and stay healthy." Well, thanks, Greg. I really appreciate that. And yeah, I've been watching videos as he's been putting them out. He's been putting out quite a few lately, and he's staying busy. Cleaning up the shop. And last one he did was on his air compressor. He had to put some filters in it, and he shows you how to go about that. You may want to take a look at that. And he's getting ready to get the corn in. So he's prepping the fields. So check him out. He could use your support, and maybe get a few more subscribers. You know, uh, let's go. Let's see. Okay, Badgerland Dan. Badgerland Dan. He doesn't have an actual. He's not a creator. He's more of a person that is connected with the YouTube channel, and he's basically a watcher. And he's took my advice and he says, "Great story," and gave me a smiley face. So I appreciate that, Badgerland Dan. Thanks a lot for that. It shows that you are interested in my videos, and I do appreciate it. I appreciate every one of you. So, okay, Patrick Prendergast. Hope I said it right. Some of these names are hard to pronounce. All right, this one here is he's hi. This is Patrick. I saw some of your earlier videos in Delavan. My parents had their honeymoon in Lake Lawn Lodge. I hope to visit in the summer. I live in Naples, Florida. Like Panorama Coffee. Maybe if you have time, we could meet up there. And I have been to that Panorama in Delavan many times. I never heard of that coffee. I think what he's referring to is the one that was by the old state bank in Delavan. That's the only one I can think of that he might be talking about, and that no longer exists. The bank's still there, but there's been a lot of changes to that. You know, it went into a UPS drop-off place, and now I don't know what it's doing. You know, so that might be the place to talk about. But yeah, Patrick, if you're ever in Delavan and you want to meet up with me, I'd be very delighted to meet up with you. Just shoot me an email. My email is on my profile on YouTube. Just check it out and then shoot me an email. Appreciate it. So, okay, we got Jerry D. Remember in the 1970s, my brother took us to the Dragon Funny Car races at Ontario Speedway. Even though it was interesting seeing the cars race, I never forgot how horrible the noise was on my ears. I said that day afterwards I would never go back to watch drag racing again. I thought my eardrums would be damaged for life. It was horrible. It was an experience, but I still feel the same today. As an older man, I still would never go see drag racing, rather save my eardrums, what's left of them. Well, that's really good advice, and I would recommend that to anybody that goes to a drag race or anything that's loud. Wear ear protection. Protect your ears. Don't be like me. When I was young, never heard of ear protecting your ears. I heard of it, but I never took it seriously, and now I'm paying the price. They say every time I go in and I get my ears checked, he says, you're considered deaf. And I said, how can I be considered deaf? I can still hear everybody what they're talking about, you know. But there's a lot of stuff I can't hear when people are talking in a distance, you know. So I imagine that if my hearing was really good, I would be able to hear a lot more better. So great advice, Jerry D. I appreciate it. And let's go to the next one here. We got Burning Sands Exploration. Well, she's got 2 channels, right? She's got Cindy's Vlogs also. Cindy's Vlogs. VLOGS, and a very great person to get to know. Once you get her to subscribe to your channel, she will always leave you a comment and give you a thumbs up, and that's what we all want, to get our channel to grow. Well, she says, I enjoy your stories and could totally relate. I haven't commented in a while, but you are always on my thoughts. Please take care. Yeah, she's been leaving me comments on just about every video, and she's, like I said, probably one of the best people you could probably want to get to know, because she's so polite, and she's got a granddaughter that she does videos with, and she has a lot of fun doing it. And she's kind of like me. She likes flea markets, and she lives out in Nevada, and she's got a lot of stuff that she can see out there, because they drive her. She's got her own truck, and very nice truck, and she takes you around the desert areas and does a lot of exploration journeys and stuff. And then when she's got Cindy's Vlogs, she's with her daughter, or not her daughter, it's her granddaughter. Did I say daughter before? I meant her granddaughter. And they do it together, and you can see that her granddaughter is having a great time with her grandma. You know, so that's wonderful. Well, thanks a lot, Cindy. I appreciate your comment, and keep commenting to me. I always appreciate it. And hopefully we can get out of this virus thing. We get back to videotaping like we're supposed to. Okay, the next one, Lamplighter. Okay, Lamplighter took my advice, and he gave me a thumbs up and a smiley face with glasses, and he didn't write down anything, which is fine, because this way, at least I got him as an icon. I can click on it, and I know who's visiting my channel. If people watch you and they don't leave a comment or give a thumbs up or anything, you can have a lot of views, but you don't know who it is. So thanks, Lamplighter. I really appreciate it. And guys, check him out. You know, he's got a great channel too. You know, and show him some love and subscribe to him. You know, so. All right, next one, Mike Brown from Ohio. We get into dirt track racing. The wife's brother was a local street stock champion in 2006. Glad you're staying safe. Have a great day. Well, thanks, Mike. I appreciate that. And again, this is another guy that always stops by and always leaves a comment. He's a great guy. So check his channel out. I'm sure you'd appreciate it. And subscribe to his channel so you can get up there to that 1,000. Because everybody wants to get over that threshold so you can start getting paid from YouTube. I'm not doing that deal because I talk a lot about it, and it probably hurts me more than it does any good, but I don't really care. I'm not in it for the money. There's better ways to make money unless you're really successful on YouTube, and I'm not fortunate to be successful. Okay, Houndsman 1. Sounds like a good time at the drag strips at first. I like the ramp jumps. Yeah, that was kind of cool to see that ramp. That's the first time in my life I've ever seen that, where a car drives over the top of the ramp and the back end explodes just when he's ready to make impact. They got a couple sticks of dynamite in the back, they blow it up. And it says, man, surprised you drove through Chicago, Illinois to get to the track. Well, I ain't going to be doing that no more. I don't like Chicago since they have that, he says, I don't like Chicago since they can't carry. He says, meaning that no matter what, you can't carry a gun through Chicago. So I rode to Sturgis back in 2012, and we had to drive around Chicago because no carry laws. I guess parts of Illinois you must be able to carry a gun with a proper license, but you can't anywhere near Chicago. So you had to drive around Chicago the way it sounds here. Imagine a group of Marine bikers heading northwest, riding low, fast, and carrying. He said, have, meaning that, I don't know, so I don't understand it too well. I've been to tractor pulls, but my favorite event was Demolition Derby. Last car running wins the pot. Oh, you read about that? A lot of Plymouths, 55 Chevys, Dodges. Yep. That was fun. Enjoy the full watch, James. Stay safe. Keep recording your dreams. Yep, James. Prayer is the answer. Okay, take it easy. I gotta admit, that was really touching. Stay safe and keep recording your dreams. And that's pretty much what it's all about. Like I said before, my dreams is to put out videos that are worthwhile watching. I try to do it. Maybe some people don't think they're worthwhile watching, but I can see that there's a good share out there that makes me happy. I get more people that give me good comments and like what they see than I do from my own relatives. And my relatives are getting really slender. I've only got 2 brothers and a sister left. And then I got a cousin. And I finally met up with my cousin now, and we're going to get together after a good many years. And I'll get into that some other time. Okay, here's one of my favorites that always comment to me all the time. Karen, how are you been? I'm glad to see you visit my channel again. You left a beautiful comment. She says, it's interesting that the older shows were so much better. Yeah, they were, but now, as I said before, it's all about people being so crazy. Nobody's going to take a chance on that. So they made it so that there's no more demolition in front of the grandstands. It's way far out in the distance if they have any at all. So anything that explodes, it's not anywhere near the grandstands anymore. So yeah, it's a shame, but what are you going to do? And it says, at least you got to go back then. Yeah, that was fun. I got to enjoy it, And if I had to be in my 30s right now, I'm almost 65 years old. If I was in my 30s right now, I would have never seen that. So I'm very thankful that I was able to witness that in real life. I really enjoyed it. Okay, so she goes on and she says, after a month, I walked to the Family Dollar for a few things and did a short video. You guys check that out. I'm sure she'd appreciate that. Now to stay home for another, and then she's got question marks. It's like you don't know how long you're gonna have to stay home. Our state has an increase in cases, twice as much now, but none in my county or nearby. Well, thank God for that. I've got, I think, 9 or 12 cases in my county where I live right now. They're cases. There's no. I don't know if there's any deaths. I don't think there's any deaths. Praying is the best thing in common sense. You're right about that, Karen. I have to agree with you. I do a lot of praying, and stay, stay with God. Keep Him on your side, and hopefully you get protection from the virus. Maybe He'll take us out and take us away from this cruel world. She says, I don't have a mask. Better make one from the free patterns online soon, I guess. I haven't mowed the lawn yet, but sure need to do that. Well, I would say just don't let the lawn get too far ahead of you, because then you're going to create more work for yourself. So, Karen, I love you for that comment, and you keep healthy, and go out there and shoot a few videos here and there. Keep us posted on what's going on. Well, I'd like to hear from you. I would appreciate it. So thank you so much for watching my channel, and all the rest of you, thank you so much. And stay tuned, because I got some more interesting stuff on drag racing that you probably never knew about. The cost of the operation, how these cars run, how much fuel they burn in 1 second, and all that great stuff. So stay with me, and I'll show you some of the stuff that I was able to buy as novelty items. Some of my collection of die-cast cars. I don't go too long on it, because otherwise the video would get too long, but I got the majority of the necessities that I wanted to show you, that the reason I got involved the way I did. So stay tuned and watch that, and we'll catch you on the end of the video. So thanks for watching, and hit the like button, subscribe, and make some more comments as we go down the line. Hopefully get out of this situation with this virus, and we can start getting out and making more videos. So thanks, guys. We'll see you on the next one. Okay, guys, did you enjoy the comments? I thought they're pretty cool. Yeah, there was no negativity or anything on them at all that I could see. One that I got the most out of, course, was the Terry, which I believe his name was Terry. Talked about how he would never go to a drag race again because of protecting his ears as his main concern, and I have to agree with him, because I've done the same thing. I went to those races, never bothered to wear hearing protection, and that contributed to a lot of my hearing loss. So I advise anybody that if you go to a drag race or any type of race, and wear ear protection. So that was a good point that he brought out on that one. So that was a great comment. I like that. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed all the comments. I thought I would go through them on screen, because you guys can look at them too. You just go to my video, you can read all the comments anyway, but just thought you'd get a little more excitement and me reading them, and then give them my response back, verbally on a lot of them. So I hope you enjoyed that. But anyways, I had a little bit more I wanted to add to this, at the end here, because on our conversation we had on the very first video, there's some stuff that I missed that was, to me, kind of important, because you guys might not know the difference between IHRA versus NHRA racing. I'm sure there's a lot of you that do, but people that are just going to races for the first time in their life, they have no clue what that means. Well, IHRA is international, and then NHRA is national. That's the national events. That's the big as you can get. That's like going and watching a space shuttle taking off. Like I said, I think I said that in my actual story time video. So one thing I want to touch base, and I'm going to show you some of the souvenirs that I picked up at the end of the video. You don't have to look at it if you don't want to. You can shut it off. But I'll show you some of the souvenirs that I picked up at the track, some of the signatures I got. and go through all that. But I wanted to explain to you too, in 2009 at that time, I can't tell you how many races they got today because they cut a few races off because they went to the 4-track, or the four lanes, 4-lane drag strip now in uh, Charlotte, North Carolina. That's the name of the track. It's four lanes on that, and that has to be incredible to see. Seeing 48,000 horsepower take off at the same time. Can you imagine that? Because these cars are 12,000 horsepower today. Between 11.5 to 12,000 horsepower each. So pretty incredible. And another one I would like to go to, if I ever had a chance, is in Thunder Valley, which is in between a mountain range, and you get a kind of a delay in there. When the burnout's all done, you hear an echo, and it sounds like a double burnout. It's pretty wild. Well, anyways, let's get back to we left off at Brainerd, and we talked about Craig Anderson, flipping his car over and everything else, and that's what intrigued us the most on making him, one of our favorites in Pro Stock. Well, we talked about Pro Stock, but I didn't talk about the funny cars and the Top Fuels. So I want to get into that. I'll show you the calligraphy I got from novelty stuff that I bought, and go into some of the detail on what makes these cars work. So let's do that. Okay, first thing I want to show you is the actual tire that goes on these monsters. We're looking at the back, the slick. Now these tires are 17 inches wide, and I'll spin this around so you can see, from this point here to this point here, 17 inches. So when they do their burnouts, this tire will actually stand up. It'll suck up and stand up, and it'll shrink 17 inches down to about 14 inches, somewhere in there. So it's pretty incredible to watch these tires just fluff up and stand up when they're doing their burnouts. So then, let's put a little bit more on here. And I'll show you this signature I got on here too. We'll get a close up to that later. But now, I want to get down here so you can see a little better. You can see when this gets mounted, there's a rim that goes around here, and there's bolts that go through to hold this tire on and everything. And then they seat it and they air it up. They only got 8 pounds of pressure in this tire. That's all they hold. Well, not all they hold. That's all they put in it. 8 pounds. And it's called a wrinkle wall tire. So what happens when this tire takes spike and goes forward, this tire will wad up in front, and the back side will actually be flat. So this will be all you'll see a big wad going. It'll look like a flat tire going down the track. I mean, when they take off, and they slow mo it in some of the professional cameras, and they can slow mo it, and you can see how it wides up in front. It's pretty incredible to watch. So I will bring you up and show you the signature, and then I'm going to show you some of the stuff that I got for novelty pieces. So you can see how tall this tire is. I mean, it's right up to my waist here, So, okay, here's the signature on the tire itself from Gary Scelsi. Gary Scelsi is no longer racing on Top Fuel anymore, but I'm sure that he's still involved with racing, probably in alcohol, or I don't know exactly what the story is, but I'm sure he's involved in some kind of racing still to this day. But he appears on some of the YouTube channels periodically, and I watched him the other day, and he got some stories to tell, back when he was racing. But I never really heard a story about what happened when he quit racing Top Fuel, but alright, I'm going to show you the actual car that was used with this tire. Okay, here's the actual car that was running the day that I bought this tire. This is the exact car that was that he was using that particular day in Brainerd, Minnesota. Now I gotta tell you too, I don't know if I mentioned this, but in the video I said Brainerd, Wisconsin. I made a mistake and it was too late. It got on YouTube and I found it later and I felt embarrassed about it. But it's Brainerd, Minnesota. And I talked about the big, how much of a trip that was. It's a pretty long ways to go. And then the details about what was all involved on getting tickets. So anyways, that's his car. I would pick the front end up on it, but it's really hard to do and it doesn't want to stay up properly. There's a little plastic deal you put underneath there and I don't have it handy right now, but at least just give you an idea. So yeah, this tire right here is actually the big tire, So I was stubborn. I had to have the exact car that ran that tire. So I went on the diecast site where I could buy, certain cars, and I actually found this car and I knew it was the right one. So I thought that's pretty neat. All right, I'm going to go to the next piece. Okay, this is the car that the way it looked with Craig Anderson. Now this is not the exact car that flipped over that night when we went to our very first race in our lifetime at the NHRA. He kept the same color scheme, but the siding, there's a little bit more white on this one than the other ones. There's little differences on some of the cars as the years went by. But I just went online and I purchased Craig Anderson and Jason Line because that's the ones that we want to add to our collection. So this is what you're looking at. This is a Pro Stock car. I can't tell you how many horsepower it is. I never really was able to find that out, how many horsepower they actually are at, but I know that they range somewhere around 220 some miles an hour on a lot of their runs. I never was a real favorite on Pro Stock, but when you go there, you gotta watch it. And the same with Pro motorcycles, Pro Stock motorcycles. Those are okay. I like those, but the actual Pro Stocks, I wasn't really 100% into it like my wife was. I don't know if she was even into it that much, I can't read her mind, but you got basically, you got four divisions. You got Pro Stock motorcycles, Pro Stock cars, and then you got the funny cars, Top Fuel, then you got the Top Fuel dragsters. And that's what you're looking at for the whole, for the weekend. And then and that's pretty much on this one. Let me show you the next one. Okay, I'm not going to show you every single diecast I got. The only reason I'm showing you these cars is because there's the two I showed you, of course, is my favorite ones that we were involved in. With the tire and of course the car, and then Craig Anderson rolling over. Now this one I'm showing you because they no longer advertise beer anymore on drag racing. All right, they took it off, and I think they took it off on a lot of sports. But I'm not going to get into that. So what I want to do is I want to explain to you how this car, what's all involved in this car on certain things. So first of all, I'm going to go up here and I'm going to point out right up here is the fuel tank. Now this tank here holds roughly about 17.5 gallons of nitro. Now a lot of you guys probably never smelt nitro in your life. Now a lot of you smelt nitrous oxide with no problem. And I think the nitrous oxide is different than the nitrous oxide you get given to when you're in a dentist chair. I don't think it's the same thing. There's something definitely got to be a little different. But they're both called nitrous oxide. Right, nitrous oxide is used a lot in IHRA versus NHRA. Now they still use nitrous oxide, of course, on the show because they got a lot of nostalgic cars. But anyways, that's basically what you're looking at here. Is 17.5 gallons of fuel goes into this tank right here. And then if you notice, the cage here is still back in 2009, even before this roll cage is open. You know, so his head's sticking out. Oh, you know, you can see his helmet. Okay, now it's not sticking over the top of the windshield by all means. He's still below the windshield. But what I'm saying is that this was dangerous back in the day. So what they did now is they made a canopy that slides over the whole driver, you know, so you don't have the problem when this motor blows and you got flames going around. It's not coming around and getting the driver. You know, there is a big firewall behind the driver that's built out of some real heavy, not real heavy duty, but it's, you know, fire retardant, so that it can't get the driver. But it still can come around and get them in the front if this is open. So they eliminated it. Now they got what they call a canopy that slides back over each driver. Now the horsepower that's generated on these cars, you know, you got to first wind them up, get them started, so they're going to idle for a while. There's fuel being pumped, all right, and then they go through the water box, which years ago they used to think you could put bleach down. I don't know why they use bleach. Water works just fine, but they run through a water box, and then they would do their burnouts. And that's where the tire stands up. You know, so when you see the burnout, you see the tire just suck right up and stand up. And then they do their burnout, and then they back their car up, and then they get ready, and they get to the timing light, and then they take off. Of course, most all you guys know that. But the main part I wanted to explain here is this is nitro, and that, you know, it's probably the most flammable material you can use for fuel today. Now this car actually, this and also funny cars, burn 1.7 gallons of fuel per second once they take off. You know, so they'll suck up 17.5 gallons pretty much, not the whole thing, but they'll suck up a good portion of it by the time they get the race done. You know, and then you got the wind guard back here to keep the force down. Then you got a deal in the front here. A lot of times what will happen is the first thing that happens when the car accelerates, it takes down a track, it starts eating the spark plugs up. It just disintegrates them. And then the cylinder goes out. Then the next one goes out. Then the next one goes out. And that's the best scenario. A lot of times you'll drop a piston and it'll blow the whole motor. You know, there's a lot of things can happen in this motor. But you know, as a rule, that's guaranteed is that it'll actually disintegrate every spark plug that's in that car. There won't be any spark plugs left. So you're going to drop cylinders as you go within the first 800 feet. Well, I shouldn't say 800 feet, probably less than that, because you're only driving 1,000 feet. But you'll start dropping cylinders within that 4 seconds right away, and you can see the cameras will be right on that motor. You know, when they're doing ESPN or they're doing Fox, they'll be right on that motor. You can see which cylinders are actually going out. You know, they got that camera shining right down on that motor, and it's pretty interesting to watch that. And that's why they got to build these motors every time they get done with a race. Now, the typical amount of money spent on a motor, I guess, this is a while back. It could be more now. But you're looking at a normal teardown and a normal rebuild of the motor. And that's if you don't damage the head. They use the same head. You're looking at $15,000. Right, this whole car, from end to end, ready to race, is $200,000. They disintegrate these monsters all the time. They flip over on the tracks. You get cut in half. Maybe all that's left is the roll cage. The guys in it. Sometimes they get hurt. Sometimes they get killed. But it doesn't happen like it did back in 2009, 2010. And it's only been a few years that I can remember, maybe 5 to 6 years ago, where there hasn't been any reports of any deaths in the NHRA top fuel racing part of it. Now there's been some deaths caused, in the alcohol, maybe, possibly. They don't really advertise that too much because they're not. You got to really try to search for that, I guess, on YouTube or on wherever you're watching. But the actual watching the NHRA show with this kind of stuff, you get to see the whole show. So I haven't watched it in quite a while. So I've been out of drag racing for a good, 7, 8 years now. So it's been a while, maybe even longer than that, maybe 10 years. So that's this car. I thought I'd explain that. And there's 2 plugs to every cylinder. Every cylinder's got 2 plugs. So you got a total of 16 of them, So just to let you know, this man, Larry Dixon, as we speak today, 2020, I think it was last year or 2000, no, it's 2018, he developed and made a top fuel dragster where he can take a passenger. In other words, he's got this roll cage and another roll cage in front. He drives and the passenger sits in the back. Now, I don't know how it works. I don't imagine anybody can just pay him. I don't know what it is. He didn't say how much it is. It could be $5,000 just to go down the track to see what it's like to go 330 miles an hour. I don't know what it's cost. I didn't really go into that to find out. But all I know is I seen it 2 days ago on YouTube, and they showed him taking a father of a fuel car driver, and his son knew that Larry was putting this all together as a 2-seater, and he had to keep the secret from his dad for 6 months until he perfected the car. And then when they went he said, he said, "Dad, I'm going to take you somewhere special." And he said, "It involves drag racing." He says, "Drag racing?" He says, "What are we going there for?" Well, then they went there. Of course, they were all at drag racing anyway, but he was wondering why it was so special to go to the drag strip. This man is 84 years old, right? And that was a surprise. And you could tell he was a little bit nervous about it when he got in. And it's on YouTube. You can watch it. And he takes that guy for a ride. And now they got it where it says, I forget he's got a slogan on the side of the car. And, he's advertising you can actually book a ride if you want. He takes him down the track. Because Larry's not racing anymore, as a driver for NHRA. So I thought I'd just throw that into you. And just getting a little long, but I got one other thing I want to show you. I'm going to take this here, shut the camera off. Okay, this is something I treasure now. I picked this up from John Force's booth. So you can see it's got the signature there. This is the piston, and the connecting rod goes with it. I can't remember what I paid for it. It was not that expensive. But that's one thing that I bought from him, and I was able to talk to John a little bit, not much. Very busy man. There's so many people want a piece of him. It's really hard to actually talk much at all. But he loves everybody, and he's going to race until the fans don't let him race anymore. The man is 60 63 years old, something like that, 64. I don't even know. He's in his 60s, and probably the same age I am, pretty close, I guess. So I thought I'd show you this stuff, and we're gonna close out now, and that's about all I got to show you. I've got a lot of die-cast cars. I'm not gonna say a lot, but probably a good 20, something like that, of all the favorites that I collected over the years. So guys, hope you enjoyed the video. I'm sorry I'm long-winded on this, but I just had to put that out there for the difference between IHRA and NHRA, because a lot of you people that never went to a race, I thought it'd be good to talk about it. And what else you got to do except sit in the house and can't go nowhere, you know, for right now. Let's hope this virus goes away and we can all get back to normal again. So guys, God bless, and you guys have a great, wonderful day, and I hope you enjoyed this video. And please give some comments, hit the like button, and subscribe if you're brand new to the channel. I appreciate that too. So, alright, we'll see you guys on the next video, and goodbye, like always.